Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Yeshua Allah world. I'm Brother Ezekiel,
I'm Brother Lee.
and we're here today to, I believe it's going to be the end of the law lessons. So we'll be getting into the meat lessons next week or whatever. So we left off on the last law, which was Deuteronomy 21 and 15, speaking of if a man has two wives. So, anyways, I'm not going to get into this because everybody, oh no, not that, But anyway, we're going to start. We're going to start today on verse 18, which is the next law. Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 18.
If a man have a stubborn or rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that not which they have chastised him will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This is our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of the city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear.
So right there, so it's letting you know already, if your children is disobedient, okay, you're supposed to chastise them. You're supposed to whoop them, okay? It even tells you in Proverbs, okay? Don't forsake them the rod or things like that, okay? You're supposed to chastise them. For chastising them, they learn and they come up correctly and things like that. They know not to do these things. In today's society today, especially in this country, if you hit your children or you discipline them, you go into jail. CPS gets in, Child Protective Service gets involved with our stuff and things like that, and therefore now we're making more money for the so-called government because now our children are in the system. Okay, so that's the reason why, if the dollar bill is going to say "In God we trust," the question is, what God are we trusted in? Because you ain't following these laws, you ain't allowing us to whoop our children, to discipline them, so they don't end up being criminals, drug dealers, thugs, as they want to say, and things like that. So this is what we're supposed to do. You're supposed to chastise your children. But obviously, if you don't chastise your children, look what happens. Either they get murdered in the streets by our own, or they get shot by the cops, the government. So you should want to teach these children so they don't die. But back in this law, amongst our nation, they doing sin like that, this stuff would have been worthy of death. Especially if you brought it up to the elders. They don't want to listen to the dad. They don't want to listen to the mother and stuff. They don't want to listen to the elders. It's done. That's why in the commandments it says, "Thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother," so your days would be prolonged and stuff. Okay, but let's get the next law here, verse 22 through 23.
And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day, for he is hanged is accursed of God. That thy land not be defiled, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
Now, let's sit here and say this, that Christ was a cursed man. Okay? And I've heard this, and I'm going to do some lessons on this. It's dealing with my so-called non-Messianic brothers, which is no such thing as non-Messianic. But the fact is, you only believe in the Torah. Fine. Okay, no problem. But what curse did that man bring on himself that he committed to bring the curse upon him? What did he do? You have to show it in the red lettering of what Christ says, what he has done and the works that he did. Does it go against the law, statute, and commandments that he was put to death, that he was worthy of death? What sin did he do? Which is what? Transgression of the law. What laws did he transgress? So how can he be a cursed man? No. The Pharisees had people to sit there and come up and lie on him and things like that. Unjust judgment. And that's exactly what happened. Wicked judgment and stuff. They created lies. He said he was a man, he was a devil casting out devils and things like that. He was this, he was doing that, you know. So it's like, no, how is he doing that when he was always praying to the Most High and he was always giving glory to the Most High? But for those individuals, you need to read the other half of the book thoroughly, not to read it to debate or look for debating issues of it. And two, before you even read that, you need to be studied up in those laws as well. Okay? But anyways, so he wasn't a cursed man, and even to my Muslim friends and stuff, no, he wasn't. Okay? So let's get that out of the way. It's unrighteous judgment, as we read in the other laws dealing with judgments and things like that. But let's get the next law. Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Now, this is what I always hear, okay? Well, there's women pants. I'm telling you, no, there's not. Okay? A lot of you women and a lot of you weak-minded men who's scared to tell them this, you guys still allow them to do these things, and therefore they're still doing it. Showing off the crescent of their, you know what, downstairs and stuff. Showing off the curves. Oh, I wear leggings and things. I have a long shirt that covers up. No. If it's hugging you, that's not covering up. You still say, oh, I'm covered, I'm covered in things. No, you're not covered. You're still showing off all your curves purposely. Now, we know a woman who has curves and, you know, well, the chest area and things like that. It's letting you know you can't hide that, but it's talking about loose stuff. Now, the reason why I say a lot of our women still follow the ways of the Gentiles, because let me tell you something. If you look at the old Victorian pictures, which means mid to late 1800s, if you look at those photos of so-called white women and stuff, guess what? The clothes that they had on were one whole long dresses that were loose, and they covered up from here all the way down, including their arms. And they had hats on and things like that too to cover their heads. So the dresses, they didn't have women pants back then. That's something they created in the late 50s and things like that during the so-called feminist movement. So with that being said, you're not supposed to wear what pertains to a man, period. So stop with the doctrines. And you men, tell them that. Okay? Let them know. No, go get you a loose dress, put your fringes on it, put your tassels, put your border blue on it, and make sure it's fluffy and things like that. Up here, you should be showing no cleavage and stuff. And guess what? For the men too, I'm going to say this for the men because in the New Testament, it talks about a man being covered as well. You're not supposed to be showing off your guns and things like that. You're not supposed to be wearing tight pants to show, you know, what imprint downstairs and things. Your garment is supposed to go past your crotch area, buddy. Okay? So with that being said, and likewise as well. But we'll get into that later on and things like that because it's also going to say about the man and things. So stop with the stuff. And if you women don't believe me, go Google whatever Victorian pictures of the late 1800s and see what the women were wearing. And I guarantee you, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay?
Okay.
So enough with the bull crap. But let's get the next law. Well, it's still the same whole law. Go ahead.
If a bird's nest...
Oh, wait. Excuse me. Wait. What was that? 5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stop at 6.
No, I'm sorry. That was it. Okay, so man and women shouldn't wear each other's apparel. Sorry. Yeah, so verse 6. Go ahead.
All right. Deuteronomy 22, verse 6. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree, or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young, the dame upon sitting upon the young, or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dame with the young. But thou shalt in any wise let the dame go, and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days.
So it's just like, you know, eating the eggs of, of that clean bird. Okay, so that's all I was talking about. Let's get the next law, verse 8.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 8. When thou buildest a new house, when thou shalt take a new battlement for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thine house. If any man fall from thence, thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with...
Oh, wait, stop right there. So, verse 8 is speaking of a battlement. So, talking about, like, fenced in areas, especially on the roof of things, because you are not supposed to have no blood upon that land and your house. Okay, so you're not supposed to have that type of sin come in or whatever, or not sin, but you don't want war coming into your house, because why? That's where you lay it. That's where your peace is. That's where you're supposed to rest in things. So it's letting you know you need to build those things. Okay. The next law, verse 8. Go ahead.
No, verse 9.
Or, excuse me, verse 9. Sorry.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with divers seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown, and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled. Thou shalt not plow with an ox.
Wait, stop right there. So, it says, thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with divers seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown, and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled. So basically, you're not supposed to be like mixing the seeds and things like that, okay? So just, plant the seeds what it is in its own area, okay? Don't mix them, bring in other seeds to create a brand new, plant or whatever and things like that. You're messing with the Most High's architect. The next law, go ahead, verse 10.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 10. Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together.
So, when you doing your work in the field, if you own land and you're farming and stuff, do not plow them together. Why? I don't know why. Just don't do it. Maybe they might clash, or the ox might start stomping on the donkey or whatever. Just don't put them together, okay? Go the next law, verse 11.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 11. Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together.
See, so don't mix the linen. It has to be 100% pure. And a lot of people say, well, my shirt says 100% cotton on the back, on the tag. How do you know? Doesn't the scripture says not to trust your enemy? This is why we need to be getting our own fabric and making our own clothes and things like that. Okay? Because you don't know. And on a scientific level, if I understood right, when you're mixing the fabrics like that, it could cause a lot of harm and damage to your body without you even noting. Your skin, correct. Let's get the next law, verse 12.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 12. Thou shalt make the fingers upon the four corners, fringes upon the four corners of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself.
Stop right there. So, of course, you're supposed to make fringes in a border of blue, to remind you of the law, statute, and commandments wherever you go, and the tassels and things to bind them to know that all four corners of the earth, wherever you go, to keep those laws, statutes, and commandments to remind you. Okay. Let's get the next law, verse 13 through 21.
22, verse 13. If any man take a wife, and go in unto her, and hate her, and give occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
So basically saying she wasn't a virgin, okay?
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid. And yet these are tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of the city shall take that man that chastise him,
and chastise
him, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days.
So keep reading.
But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel of the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with the stones that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house, so shalt thou put evil away from among you.
So basically, a lying man who don't have no interest in his wife that he laid with and things like that to make him the wife. So he's lying, telling the people, saying, "Hey, she's not a virgin and stuff. So you need to give me back what my dowry that I gave to you for her token and things like that." But what they were saying, the token of virginity, when you lay with a woman, you're supposed to lay it underneath her and stuff. So when she, a man does what he does, and he penetrates and things like that, and she bleeds and things because she's getting her virginity broken, then it falls on the cloth, and then that's supposed to show a token that she was a virgin. Okay, so she wasn't no whore or anything like that, or she wasn't found not a virgin when he first came with her and things. So it's like, then that man is supposed to stay with her for the rest of his life, unless we get into the divorcement or the law of divorcement and things like that. But anyway, but if he lied, but if it's found true of the woman, like it says, then she's supposed to be put to death. She's stoned. Okay. Let's get the next law. Verse 22.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 22. If a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall both of them die. Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman, so shalt thou put away evil from Israel.
So any adulterers or adulteresses, y'all getting put to death, period. And once again, to Christians out here or people that watch this, no, you can't do it right now, okay? Even though actually over in the Middle East they still do that. You do get stoned, literally, which honestly, that's what's supposed to happen, okay? So, but we live in so-called America, and other places don't allow you to do that. They allow you to be little harlots and adulterers and adulteresses and things like that, But this is coming from the Most High through Christ and the Holy Spirit that you're supposed to put them to death, okay? Let's get the next law, verse 23 through 27.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 23. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, and a man find her in the city, and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of the city, and ye shall stone them with stones, that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, and the man, because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. Thou shalt put away evil from among you. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death, for as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her.
So it's telling you basically, rape
is wrong.
Okay, so if you out here, and I've heard these doctrines, man, that's just taking a woman up and just rape her. You can't do that. Okay, and then this is where it comes about when Christ was talking about, even if you look onto a woman with lustful eyes and things like that, you already committed adultery or so forth in there, because you may be married and she may have been married and you didn't know, because we don't deal with rings. Okay, we don't do that. That's not our custom. But she may have been married, and therefore you could have been committed adultery in your mind already. And you don't even know a lot of things that come in there, which we call this day and age thirst. A lot of dudes be thirsty out here and they want to just go take something and they can't even do it. Now you coveting. Now you finna perform rape and stuff. That dude, she cries out and stuff, he's supposed to be put to death. But if she don't cry out and things, both of them, because obviously maybe she wanted, that's how it was supposed to be. She wanted to get, well, you know what? I don't have to say, I don't have to say it, but they probably had something going on anyways, or whatever the case may be, or she might have been sick or tired of the man that she's betrothed to, because still being betrothed is like you being married. So, you know. So anyways, just letting you know what's going on. So any raping going on, you getting put to death, especially if she cries out. So anyways, let's get the next law, which was
28.
28 and verse 29. Yep.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
So stop right there. So this right here is letting you know when it says take a hold of her, it doesn't mean to you're mine and stuff, and I'm finna lay with you. You ain't married and things like that, you know, and you gonna have sex with her and stuff like that. No, it said, and you humbled her. Obviously, you had some type of connection with her. She has connection, and like he said, consent. Okay, so you talked, as we say, you know, hey, yo, you know, you got this sweet talk, you know what I'm saying? So
flirtatious ways.
right, it's like this is how we supposed to do, and you guys, you know, you digging each other and this, that, and the other, and then you go in onto her. Obviously, she's humbled enough. You humbled her enough, and she feels, you know, safe with you that she wants to, you know, open up to you. And this is where the marriage is with this. Okay, so with that being said, that's humbling her. So that's what it's talking about when you take her up. Okay. It's not talking about when you just run over and just snatch her up and rape her, as I heard doctrines out there to say that. No.
You can just take.
Right, like dude, like no. You won her because you're able to humble her. Okay. Let's get the next law.
30.
Wait a second. I'm looking at something here. No, verse 30 is a repeat. It just says, "If a man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirts." So, seeing his nakedness, and you cannot lay with your father's wife. Okay, period. But that was a repeat. It was already spoken in Leviticus 18, verse 8. Let's get the next law. Deuteronomy 23 and verse 1.
Deuteronomy 23, verse 1. He that is wounded in the stones, or hath his privy member cut off,
private member
cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
So, let you know, if your stuff is cut off downstairs, or you lost one,
testicle.
Yeah, testicle, you can't enter into the congregation of the Most High, period. Okay? It's a law in itself. Verse 2 is the next law.
Deuteronomy 23, verse 2. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
So a bastard is an illegitimate son. Okay? So with that being said, it's letting you know, basically whores. Alright? If you just going around sleeping and you having sex and children and things like this, you don't even know who the father is, and it's not even his name and stuff, it's considered as being a bastard. Okay? So that's why it's important to have the man in the house. Alright? But this system, once again, is trained up to the point where the man is not in the house no more, especially amongst Israel, or the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because this system here teaches that the woman is the man of the house, not the man. So you took that all the way off. So when you chase, now I'm not going to lay the blame, because there is lazy men out here and things like that amongst our people. But I'm also not going to put it on them neither. I'm right in the middle. You have women who just, when they don't get their way, they throw their temper tantrums and the man is out. Get out. And then next thing you know, who's your new husband? The government, the system, child support, everything. Oh, girl, I got this, I got that. I got this much in food stamps. I got this much in that. Not saying it's bad, but I'm saying the women are using the system, and the system knows this. The government knows this. So that's the reason why these things happen. That's why the men don't have nothing. That's the reason why we're constantly fighting. We have this gender battle and things like that.
Custody battles with your kids.
Right. When the men are supposed, the children are supposed to be with the men. That's the foundation. Period.
Right.
But this system teaches you different. See that? But anyways, let's get the next law. 3 through 6.
20 Deuteronomy 23 verse 3. An Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way, when ye came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam, the son of Beor and Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse thee. Nevertheless, the Lord thy God would not hearken unto Balaam, but the Lord thy God turned the curse into a blessing unto thee, because the Lord thy God loved thee. Thou shalt not seek their peace nor their prosperity all the days forever. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. 1 second. So Deuteronomy 23, verse 3 through 6 is the law. It's talking about the Amorites and the Moabites. They can't enter into the congregation of the Most High. The 10th generation, forever. I don't know which generation that is. You know, everybody's like, well, you start falling into these timelines, generation. But they mix up the generation so bad you don't know what. So it said the 10th generation. It didn't say the 9th. It didn't say the 8th, the 7th, the 6th, the 5th. It said the 10th generation. So you have to pinpoint through time what is the 10th generation. Because there's doctrines that speaking, well, if somebody claiming that they're a Moabite, what generation are they in? So you have to ask these questions. And that's why when we read, there's a law in here where it spoke that the Egyptians and Esau, or the Edomites, shall their third generation shall enter into the congregation of the Most High. So what generation? Because you have to ask yourself in Amos and Obadiah, what generation was Obadiah and Amos speaking of, according to what generation? What generation are they in? You don't know. If you cannot pinpoint, you should not be teaching, saying that, oh, because he's Edom, he can't enter into the congregation. Can't do that. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's according to the law. Okay? So once again, you have to ask yourself in what generation was the prophets talking about? And what generation was they in?
Now when it talks about a bastard, it doesn't say forever.
Right, it doesn't say forever, but the fact is they need to have that father in their house. So they're not called a bastard because that son is carrying the father's name.
And my grandfather's a bastard.
Yeah.
So I'm a third generation
bastard.
Wow. Okay, let's keep getting where were we? Verse 7 is the next law, 7 through 8.
Deuteronomy 23 verse.
Now, mind you, there's three laws in this verse that I'm giving, okay? So go ahead.
Deuteronomy 23 verse 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother.
So that's one. So the word abhor is talking about don't mistreat, don't antagonize, don't treat badly, okay? Despite the fact that whatever he did, his sons did to us when we were passing through in Saudi Arabia amongst the children of Esau and things like that. That's not for you to do, okay? Don't mistreat them, all right? You're supposed to just do the work and say what it says and stuff. So if Idumea, when we come into these other laws, it's going to tell you if an Idumean, which some say is the white man, I don't deal with genealogy debates. I don't do that. Okay, so to all who think that they're white man, fine, whatever. So a lot who think they're the original, or not the original, but so-called Arabs, fine, whatever. I don't put it into debates. Okay, but anyways, the fact is you can't abhor them. You can't mistreat them. Okay, that's why even Christ said, "Be meekness and humbleness, and pray for your enemies." And things like that. So We'll get into a lesson on that also. But let's keep reading. Thou shalt not abhor.
Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land.
So here's that. There's the next law that was in there within these three in these verses. So an Egyptian too, Hamites can't mistreat. Okay, Most High remember what Pharaoh did when Joseph was there, and then our forefathers and things. Okay, verse 8. Yeah, verse 8.
The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation.
Wait a second. Read that again.
Ooh.
This is a law.
The children that are begotten of them,
meaning Egypt and Idumeans, go ahead,
shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation.
See that? So in Obadiah and Amos, what generation was they speaking of? You don't know. So if you're going around you're teaching that against them and things like that, and you're turning them away, then you're actually breaking the law. That's why you have to be very careful of what you're saying. If you've been indoctrinated back from the 60s all the way up until now and been carrying that same doctrine, my friends, my brethren, you guys need to come up out of that. Stop that. Okay?
All praises to the Most High God.
And I didn't say this. You can't refute this. There's no way of getting around this. You can look it up in the Hebrew. I've already did it. You can look it up in the Hebrew, whatever you want. It's going to tell you, do not do those things, period. So if they come up asking questions and really want to learn and really want to come on to the Most High through the Most High God, through Christ and the Holy Spirit, or Mashiach, and Ruach Kodesh, or Wak Kodash Ruach, however you want to pronounce it, then you're supposed to accept them. I didn't say that. That's what the laws say. So, I know we used to, we be making fun of the nations and stuff, we be clowning them and things. Yes, we do, But if you have them sincerely want to be there and they really want to do this, then you can't turn them away. See? And two, if you turn them away, who's going to serve us in the kingdom? Just saying. You dig? Anyways, let's get the next law. Verse 9 through 14.
Deuteronomy 23, verse 9. When the host goeth forth against thine enemies, then keep thee from every wicked thing. If there be among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanliness, that chanceth him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp, he shall not come within the camp. But it shall be, when evening cometh, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whether thou shalt go forth abroad. And thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon, and it shall be, when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, thou shalt dig wherewith, and shalt turn back, and cover that which cometh out of thee. For the Lord thy God walketh in the midst of thy camp to deliver thee, and give up thine enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, and he see no unclean thing in thee, and turn away from thee.
So even when you go to war, you can't go out unclean. You got to be clean.
Yeah, can't poop in the camp. You got to walk outside the camp, and then dig a hole, dig a trench, and then go cover it back up, go back in the camp.
Yeah, even on the physical, carnal level, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But the uncleanliness, we know what other uncleanliness is dealing with, with yourself. So, for instance, if you had sex that day or whatever, and y'all supposed to go to war, you're unclean. You can't go out. Any uncleanliness, it's at any, not some, not this, not that, all uncleanliness. You cannot go out to war. Period. That's why it says to be holy in everything that you do, because the Most High walks amongst you, okay, in the midst of you. Let's get the next law. What was that, 19 through 14? Yeah. Verse 15 through 16 is the next law.
Deuteronomy 23, verse 15. Thou shalt not deliver unto his masters a servant which is escaped from his master unto thee.
So wait a second. So if this is the white man's book, as everybody claims and stuff, it says, thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. Okay? So how is this the white man's book when our people weren't trying to deliver people up to the so-called white man and things? This is not a white man's book. This is our book. Okay? It's telling you. And we had what you call, in our sense, what we use today, coons back in the day. They'll say, look, master, I got him. I saw Toby running on out. There he is right here. I got you, master. I told you we gonna get them, master. So how is this law right here telling you that this is a white man's book? That's because you're ignorant and you don't read.
It doesn't read.
You watch YouTube videos and you deal with what naysayers be saying.
And it doesn't read.
And not even picked up an inch or read an inch of literature ever.
And it doesn't read.
And excuse me, for literature, I'm talking about books, okay?
Books.
So, let's keep reading. Read that again, verse 15.
All right. Deuteronomy 23, verse 15. Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee.
Don't snitch. Go ahead.
Snitches get stitched. 23, verse 16. He shall dwell with thee, even among you, in that place which he shall choose in one of thy gates, where it liketh him best. Thou shalt not oppress him.
Thou shalt not oppress him. So you're supposed to bring in, if you have an escaped servant, there's a reason why that servant ran away.
Natives used to run to the slaves used to run to the natives.
All the time. Did the natives give him up?
Nope.
No.
They made him a part of their tribe.
That's Gad. Well, some may argue and say, no, it's not, but whatever. I don't do all that debate and stuff. But anyways, you see that? So how's that the white man's book? And every time that our people ran and another so-called white man found another master's white man's property and things, guess what? He took it for himself or said, you have to pay me for this. Or you have to pay me for her. Come on, man.
Yeah. It doesn't read.
Right.
17.
Verse 17. Let's get the next law. Verse 17.
Deuteronomy 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
There should be no whores of the daughter of Israel. Okay? Let's get the next one.
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
The word sodomite doesn't mean faggots. Why would it tell you there should be no whores of the daughter of Israel, nor sodomites of the sons of Israel? The word sodomite in Hebrew means a male gigolo, a male whore who has sex for money. That's what it's speaking of. This is another thing. This is why I say this. Our people be out there street teaching and stuff, and you see men walk around and be like, oh, that dude is a sodomite. He a sodomite. You know what I'm saying? You a sodomite. Wait a second. You're calling somebody who's a fag a sodomite when he's not even out there selling you know what for money. So you're bearing false witness on this man who's gay, who's not selling his stuff for some money. He's not having sex for money. So you're bearing false witness. Of course, somebody who's being sinful, which it says there should be none of that stuff. Any man that lays with another man like a woman, both of them should surely be put to death, and their own blood be upon them. That's not what it's speaking of right here. It's speaking of whores amongst women and men. That's what a sodomite means in Hebrew for a man, a male whore, a male gigolo. Okay, so you got to be careful what you calling out there at our people or anybody. Okay, but let's get the next law.
18.
Verse 18 is the next law.
Deuteronomy 23, verse 18. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow. For even both these are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So, once again, you can't, they say you just come as you is. Okay, well, if you have so-called whores coming into your church and stuff, they should be repenting, meaning they should be changing. They shouldn't be out here doing the same thing. And then a lot of these cats, they just bring them in there because of money and stuff. Selling out, okay? They're not even going to be accepted in the congregation or a dog, okay? So you can't be doing that neither, all right? Let's get the next law.
19.
Wait, no. Verse 21 through 23.
All right. Deuteronomy 23, verse 21.
Yep.
When thou shalt vow a vow unto the Lord thy God, thou shalt not slack to pay it. For the Lord thy God will surely require it of thee, and would be a sin in thee.
So basically, if you say, when you say certain things, like I vowed to do this for the Most High, especially when you get baptized and you doing this walk, that's a vow unto the Most High, saying that you are leaving this world and stuff. You're not trying to be about this world anymore. You're trying to do what He asked you to do. Okay? So you're already made that vow with the Most High and things. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you don't do that, guess what? The Most High is going to come knocking saying, I need this. Now you sit here saying, why am I going through all these things that I'm going through and things like that? Why is this and why is that? Why? You can't even figure out why, because you're not stopping to think of the words that came out of your mouth and what you said and your actions, what you was going to do. What you thought it wasn't being recorded? You think He didn't see and heard what you said? Of course He's going to come knocking on the door. Just like when you sell your soul to Satan or whatever. Mm-hmm. You sign that little blood contract with all these so-called little Illuminati groups and things like that. You sold your soul just to get that money and stuff. Guess what? You disobey their contract. Guess what? You getting put to death. At least the Heavenly Father gives you time and He don't put you to death right away. Mm-hmm. See that? So you serving the wrong master, fam.
I'm new to my vow, and it's required of you. Trust me. Mm-hmm. So you better be sure before you go in that water, or you make any type of vow to the Lord, because He will require that payment.
And that's why Christ even said, "Swear not by the heavens or even in the earth, except for the heavens is His throne and the earth is His footstool." Don't even swear. A lot of y'all be like, "Oh man, I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God." Then why little BB got shot in the street? Because this nigga was, because he was sitting here swearing all up and down. Because he was swearing all up and down. He was swearing all up and down to God, saying this and lying on the Most High. Yep. That's why it tells you not to take the Most High's name in vain. But they figure if you say, I swear to God, they're going to believe you and things. Excuse me. I still got a little slang in me, a little street, you know what I'm saying? But we just keep it at 100, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, But anyways, keep reading though.
But if thou shalt forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in thee. Just keep it. That which is gone out of thy lips thou shalt keep and perform, even a free will offering, according as thou hast vowed unto the Lord thy God, which thou hast promised with thy mouth.
See that? So, you got to repay that 100%. You're not going to be slacking it, period. And if you get slacked in it, He's going to remind you.
And He does remind you.
So, that's why we're saying this ain't no joke and things. And that goes amongst even on the, even with your own people, as we'll get into too, about making vows and stuff like that. But let's get the next law, verse 24.
When thou comest into thy neighbor's vineyard, then thou mayest eat grapes thy fill at thine own pleasure, but thou shalt not put away any in thy vessel. When thou comest into the standing of...
Oh, stop right there. So this is one law. So if you're passing by through your neighbor's vineyard, meaning their fields and things like that, it's okay to take a grape or a couple of grapes and just eat it so you can have some fill in your belly and stuff. According to the law, you're supposed to give that on to your brethren, the poor, the needy, the fatherless, the widows, the so-called stranger, which is Gentiles. Allow them to eat from it. But they can't bring a bag with them and start plucking and start putting a whole bunch in a satchel and then take it on and things. Okay? The next law, verse 25.
When thou comest into the standing of corn of thy neighbor, then thou mayest pluck the ears with thine hand, but thou shalt not move a sickle unto thy neighbor's standing corn.
So right here, here's where the Pharisees was getting on Christ and the disciples when they saw them picking corn on the field on the Shabbat. This is what they're talking about right here. That's the reason why Christ told them, like, yo, you guys are so worried and being busybodies and stuff, and knowing the laws, it tells you could pick corn. Where did it say? How is picking corn on the Shabbat when you're walking through? How is that servile work? When you take a sickle to it, that's working. You're just picking a corn so you can eat. So what law did Christ break? He didn't break any. This is what we're trying to tell individuals because they don't know the laws and they don't read the New Testament and things. Or they read the New Testament, but they're only reading it for debates. You're doing the same thing that the Pharisees was doing because you're unlearned in the law. Or maybe because the words don't say this, that, and the other in the law. You don't have it on you to understand it of what he was doing because you don't know the law. Okay? But anyways, let's get the next law. Let's go to Deuteronomy 24 and 1 through 4. The law of divorcement, which is Matthew 19 and 3 all the way down through 7. That's what it's speaking of. Like I said in the last video, it had nothing to do with multiple wives, people. Okay? So let's get it.
Deuteronomy 24, verse 1. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, but he hath found some...
Because
he hath found some uncleanness in her, and let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house.
The uncleanliness, it's talking about fornication, incest, adultery, idolatry, and uncover. Look it up. That's what it's speaking of when you read Matthew 19 and 3 down through 7. That's why Christ said, except it be for fornication. Look it up in the Greek. It's the same exact stuff. That's the only way you could put away your wife or divorce her. But if she's just nagging and just crazy and things like that, that's your fault. You got to stay with it for the rest of your life. That's you. You should have did your homework before you want to go sticking. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, hey, you can't put her away for that.
It was good at the time, wasn't it?
Right. Until all the craziness came out and things like that. Should have learned that. Should have gave yourself some time. Be celibate. Oh, man, no. I need to hurry up and mark my territory for another brother get on that. No, that booty looking good and stuff. No, them breasts looking good and things. Oh, man, she fine and stuff. She got this, she got that. You was thinking all the way on the carnal, not even looking at the spirit yet.
Mm-hmm. But it looked real good, didn't it?
See? And still cats out here sinning and stuff because they think, oh, man, no. I don't have to be with her because of this and that. Yes, you do. According to this law, you can't put her away.
Nope.
Period.
Nope.
So once again, to my sisters out there who's indoctrinated with this Matthew 19 and 3 through 7 was talking about multiple wives.
How you doing, sis?
No, it wasn't. This is what the Pharisees was getting on Christ about. Okay? So let's not twist it up. And for you Jeremiah 44 men who's sitting out there teaching that doctrine just to get people to follow you and lying to the people, you're twisting the laws and you're taking away and you're adding. Shame on you. But anyways, let's keep reading.
All right. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
So she may go be another man's wife because of the uncleanliness and things. So the uncleanliness, she did those things that got her to be put away. So fine, divorce her. That's what she did. Everybody knows this. It's witnesses, so forth and so on. But she can be another man's wife. Okay? So, well, another wife to a husband. But keep reading.
And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is abomination before the Lord, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
See that? So you can't take her back.
Nope.
You can't do that. She's defiled. Her flowers been plucked by somebody else. Somebody laid some seed on that in that vineyard. Can't do it. Okay? So, plain and simple, that's the law of divorcement. But let's get the next law, verse 6.
No man.
Oh, excuse me. You know what? I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, the reason why I didn't read this.
Yeah, this is the same.
The reason why I didn't read this, it's a repeat because it's already back in Deuteronomy 20:7.
Yeah.
But if you just want, just go ahead and read it.
Might as well. When a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he hath taken.
So for you guys out there who want a wife so bad, and who wants 2 and 3 and 4 wives, okay? For you sisters out there who say, well, this man needs to have this, that, and the other before he can get with me and things. Guess what? This man has to take off of any business and any works for a whole year. He has to sit in the house for a whole year to cheer you up. So guess what? Financially, this is why I was talking about in the last video. Financially, that man who takes on a wife, you have to have finances to back it up for a whole year. Well, we in captivity. So I'm saying this to you brothers and you sisters who are not practicing celibacy and things like that. And I gotta be with somebody, I gotta be with somebody. Can this individual do that? And to you women out there, are you prepared to allow this man to be off for the whole year as it says according to this law? Without any works.
Law.
Are you prepared for that? If you're not, then why are you guys getting married for?
I don't think they're prepared for it.
But the New Testament says, but it's better to marry than to burn. But according to this, if you marry that man and he doesn't have these things, you can't be mad at that.
Law.
And guess what? You should provide for the house then when that man's taken off for a whole year.
Law.
Just saying. I didn't say that. That's what the book says.
I didn't say it.
So, come on. And then, once again, brothers, you get 2, 3 wives or whatever, which it says by law, you can do that. You still got to take off a whole nother year just to cheer her up. So that means you can't go back to the first wife dealing with her and stuff or calling her and things like that. No, you need to be in the house with her for 1 whole year.
Hey, you are kind of funny though.
What?
You make jokes.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, I'm being
logical.
You would cheer up.
Yeah.
You cheer up, all right. But, now you got to deal with the whole stress of other things and stuff. That's why everybody has to be on one accord. Okay? So, once again, like I said, I'm not making this whole multiple wife thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, like I said, I will do a lesson thoroughly on the whole thing without any man-made doctrines or my opinion. Only what the word says. That's it.
Law.
Okay? But anyways, that was a repeat law in Deuteronomy 20 and verse 7, I believe it is. Yeah.
Throwback
Law. That's a throwback law. But the next law now is not a throwback. So verse 6. Hey, Salakia, y'all, sorry for that. I hit escape. I was trying to minimize the screen and stuff, and it stopped the video. So this is going to be still the same thing. I just have to put in 2 parts or whatever. So sorry about that. But we'll read this law again. Deuteronomy 24 and verse 6.
No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge.
So basically what this is talking about is saying that you can't take away a man's hustle. Okay?
His
livelihood, what he produces for his family. You can't do that. You can't take away. Here in America, that happens 100%. If you only know how to cook some food and stuff, and you have some money and you buy the food to cook it and the ingredients and stuff, nobody has ever eaten this, and you set up on a sidewalk somewhere and you start grilling food and things, and people start coming in and they start paying you money and stuff, the government has the right for them to come in and to knock that all down and citation you a ticket or even put you in jail.
They do it
because
with
you don't
lemonade stands for kids.
Right, because you don't have the permits and the license to do that. The okay for them to do that, to make your money so you can feed your family.
Yep.
That's what it's talking about. So, of course, in God we trust on the dollar bill. Yeah, what God? You don't run by these laws. So, and they claim they got all these laws and stuff, and ain't none of them. There's still destruction going on. Okay? It's only made, once again, the system is only made for you know who. But anyways, let's get the next law. Verse 7 through 8.
Deuteronomy.
Or excuse me. 24. Yeah, verse 7.
Deuteronomy 24, verse 7. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and maketh merchandise of him, or selleth him, then that thief shall die, and thou shalt put evil away from among you.
So right here, to those who say, well, blacks sold blacks and stuff. Blacks or so-called Africans didn't sell their own people or their own tribe. They sold other nations. Okay?
Yes.
So the Ivory West Coast of Africa, the point of no return and things like that, those Africans sold our ancestors to the Europeans. We are not Africans.
Nope.
We are not Hamitic. We are Shemitic. We are Shemites. Okay? We come from Shem. Total different. That's why we don't look alike. That's why them, they don't even have facial hair. Here at us, we got full beards and stuff. Where it come from? Okay, we're Shemitic people. Oh, well, you're mixed. Well, I tell you what, I've seen 10 times dark brothers that's 10 times darker than me with a bigger beard and longer than mine. So you're telling me that he's mixed too? Come on, man. So once again, and it tells you too, we don't steal and we don't sell our own people. And if you do that by this law, you're supposed to be basically
Put to death.
Yeah, put to death and put the evil amongst Israel. Okay? So once again, like I said, we don't do that. Alright? And then too, for those so-called Irish people, well, whites, well, of course. So-called Jewish individuals who are Khazarians, of course, they were selling each other. That's their business. So, if by law, according to the Torah, they weren't supposed to have been doing that. And then someone said, well, they were just wicked people. They still do it till this day. So what are you talking about? They don't fit this law. And we would never do nothing like that anyways, because we like to use the saying, we don't snitch. And we don't do that. We don't sell out each other. Some do, because they're facing life, imprisonment, so they'll squeal like a pig, or whatever. But anyways, this is a law. But anyways, let's get the next law. Verse 8. Verse 8, sorry.
Deuteronomy 24, verse 8. Take heed.
No, I'm sorry. Verse 10 through 13.
Okay. 24, verse 10. Deuteronomy 24, verse 10. When thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge.
Okay, so if you lend him anything, you can't just walk into that man's house and take your stuff back. No. Okay? Just like if cats have money that they owe you, like, man, I know he got my $100 in his pocket. We saw him flossing. He put it in his pocket. You can't just take that out of his pocket. And we know we like to do stuff like that and things like that. Not according to this. You can't. Go ahead.
24 verse 11. Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man to whom thou dost lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. If the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. In any case, thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun goeth down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless thee, and it shall be righteousness unto thee before the Lord thy God.
So anything, if you give your word to anybody, whatever agreement you guys got between each other and stuff, you set up a time, you set up when you're going to do these things, how you're going to pay it back or whatever the case may be. If I give you my shirt and stuff to go borrow for a job interview, my tie and things like that, and you say, I'll bring it back tonight or on this day and stuff, guess what? I'm looking for you on this time and this day. Stick with your word, okay? Do what you say. Let your yeas be yeas, your nays be nays. Speak all clearly that everybody has understanding, so there's no misunderstandings between y'all, no issues and no fightings and so forth and so on. So if you say you're going to do something, that's your word. So the same thing you giving your word to the Most High, same thing you giving to your brethren out here and stuff. You got to stick with it no matter what, period. So if you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you're not going to do it, then don't. Don't even try to lend and stuff if you're not finna pay it back. So set up the times when you're going to do it and stuff. So we don't have no more altercations because cats will be like, oh, you soft, I'm keeping your stuff, you ain't getting up for me, blah, all that street stuff. And then next thing you know is, now you just took a life. Seriously? Because something you didn't want to pay back or something you didn't honor your word and things, promises, and you don't have to say, well, I promise, I didn't say that. No, your words and your acts say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. So basically, if I give you something freely, just here's $100. Here you go, and you turn around and say, well, I'm going to pay it back to you on this day. I was giving it to you for free. You didn't have to pay me back nothing. Now, you put yourself in a bind with me. You made a pledge. You said, I'm going to pay you back on this day. So now I'm looking for you this day for you to pay me back. You dig? See that? So sometimes a lot of our people shoot themselves in the foot because something was given to you freely and you just felt that, oh, there's a string attached to it. I got to give it back. I got to do it somewhere. You just binded yourself. So watch what you say. Let's get the next slow. Verse 14 through 15.
24 verse 14. Thou shalt not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in the land within thy gates.
See that? Amongst thy brethren or the stranger, a Gentile. You're not going to be oppressing them and things like that. Period. Okay? Go ahead.
At his day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin unto thee. The father shall not.
Oh no, that's it.
That's it.
So right there. So it's letting you know if these individuals, whatever you do, especially in business, Israel, if you have our brethren all in the truth and they know this and stuff, guess what? Pay them the same night, the same day. All the work that they doing, don't let the sun go down on their work. Okay? But see, this system, they make you wait 2 weeks before you get paid. So you worked, you earned it, but they ain't paid you when it's supposed to come in your pocket. But you ain't supposed to mistreat them and things like that. So if they go crying on to the Most High, now you wondering why you got chastisement coming on to you. Why you probably getting locked up on the streets when you're street teaching, or you getting jumped on the streets. Like the Most High says, you're going to pay back what's due. And then dealing with your brethren and the stranger, the Gentile, look it up. You're supposed to deal with them correctly like that. See? Let's get the next law, verse 16.
Deuteronomy 24 verse 16. The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for their fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Every man should be put to death for his own sins. Once again, Christ did not die for the sins of mankind. No. He atoned. There's a difference. How can he be put to death for me robbing and murdering people? That's not right.
Nope.
So once again, you guys need to read the books. So with that being said, once again, and I'm going to read it. The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man, see, and a lot of y'all will stop right there. You wouldn't read the rest of this. But it says, every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Okay? So with that being said, name the sins that Christ did. Once again, unrighteous judgment. He wasn't even supposed to be put to death, period. But you had hating old brothers in Israel, Pharisees and scribes, hating on this man because he was still in a spotlight from you. Same thing like going on today. This fighting over leadership and position and things like that. You fighting over a position and stuff that wasn't even given to you. Or you didn't even earn the position at that. What work did you put in? But here it is, you coveting because his brother has some followers. Or whatever the case may be. Anyways, and then you want to lie and give this person a bad name. And I know a lot of y'all, well, anyways, whatever. Let's get the next law, verse 17 through 18.
Deuteronomy 24, verse 17. Thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the father, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge.
The fatherless.
The fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge.
He read.
But thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee thence. Thenceforth I command thee to do this thing. When thou cuttest thine...
No. Let's see. That's it on that. So basically it's telling you, don't be corrupted in judgment, whether it's your own people or Gentiles. Righteous judgment altogether. And because you were bondmen in Egypt, because you know for a fact them Egyptians was doing us bogus. Their system was created for them, and they was treating us like crap. Same thing is happening now in the so-called world today. See? But anyways, let's get the next law. Deuteronomy chapter 25 and verse 1 through 3.
Deuteronomy chapter 25. If there be a controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, thou shalt justify the righteous, and condemn the wicked. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault by a certain number. 40 stripes he may give, and not exceed, lest if he should exceed that, and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brothers should seem vile unto thee.
So right here it's letting you know, righteous judgment again. If there's a dispute in things, we need to bring it to 2 or 3 or more witnesses. Let everything be done in decent order, and we need to find out who's telling the truth and who's not. And it's saying if it's not worthy of death, whatever the sin may be, then it comes to be 40 lashes. Yeah, 40 lashes. It says to beat them 40 lashes. You know where the word 40 comes from, or the understanding of 40 lashes comes from? It's the 40 years of all that stuff that we had to run around in the desert in Arabia because of the folly that was going on amongst Israel at the time in the wilderness. See that? So now you're trying to figure out why you getting chastised the way you are today. Oh, I'm in the truth. I've been praying to the Most High and Christ and Holy Spirit and things, and I'm trying to do this, and I'm still getting chastised. Why? You don't even understand because you ain't self-reflecting and figuring out what you've been doing wrong to the Most High, or trying to figure out why you ain't receiving or why you're not being righteous in His eyes. You lucky that the Most High are merciful that He has love for you to bless you with the love of the hard love to chastise you, to whoop you into shape, to tell you, hey, you messing up. Get that evil out of you. Get that darkness out of you. See? Right. So, let's get the next law. Verse 4.
Thou shalt not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out the corn.
It says, thou shalt not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out the corn. So, basically, you can't beat it. You can't hurt it and stuff. You can't overwork it and things like that. Let it run its course and stuff. An ox is going straight forward. Don't mess with it. Don't start doing certain things to it. Let it run its course that it's on and things. Let him do his work and things. Don't distract him. Okay? Making him turn from the left to the right. Let him do what he needs to do and stuff. Okay? Go ahead. The next law, verse 5 through 10.
If the brethren dwell together, and one of them die, and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger.
Now, this stranger is talking about another tribe. Okay? Now, this stranger is not talking about Gentiles, and I know a couple of you camps out there who twist that and try to say, oh, no, that's talking about another stranger when it talks about mistreating the strangers and things like that. It wasn't talking about Israel. Look up the definitions. It's two different definitions in the Hebrew. Okay? But go ahead.
Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. And if a man like not to take his brother's wife, and let his brother's wife go up to the gate and unto the elders, and say, my husband's brother refuseth to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel, he will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak unto him. And if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe off of his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that hath his shoe loosed.
So wait a second. so check this. So, okay, so this man, all right. So let's say what happens. Like I said, I try to turn this into multiple wives things, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. So if I'm married, right, and I have a wife, and my brother is married and has a wife, and he dies, has no children, not even a son to bear his name, so I'm not supposed to go in onto my brother's wife according to this law and to bring up seed to make her have a firstborn son, so he takes his father's name that's deceased, and then to build on and keep my brother's, his dad's name, keep going through all his generations. So now I'm supposed to disregard that law too?
They didn't
read. now sister's gonna be like, oh, wait a second. Hey, do you have any how many brothers you got in your family? This brother is well financed, well groomed, has everything going, a man of the Most High, righteous and stuff, and everything. But I can't get with him because he got another brother. Yo, okay, all right. I'm sorry. So, anyway, so it's telling you if he. I'm sorry.
All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Law is the law. Law is the law.
Yo, I can't make this up, man.
The law is the law.
I can't make it up, bro.
They don't read.
Nah, I can't make this up. This is why stuff don't get taught in these camps and things.
Or in the churches.
No, don't read that one. Anyways, so all right, enough is enough. All right. So if he doesn't do that, then they unloosen his shoes and things like that and spit in his face. Okay, so he won't bring this son up and stuff. All right. So it's letting you know this is a law amongst Israel. This is what you're supposed to do, and if you don't do it, you're breaking the law. This is what I'm talking about. Our people not even knowing these laws because you're not studied. You're not well learned up. And these men, and a lot of these camps don't want to teach these. Okay? But anyway. Okay, let's get the next law, y'all. I mean, it's funny. It is funny.
It is.
What was that, 5 through 10?
Yeah.
Next law, 11 through 12.
Deuteronomy 25, verse 11. When men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draweth near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smiteth him, and putteth forth her hand, and taketh him by the secrets, then thou shalt cut off her hand. Thine eyes shall not pity her. Thou shalt not have any in thy bag.
Wait. No, that's it on that. 11 through 12. So, all right. So, if your husband is in a fight with another man and stuff, okay, amongst our people, okay, now it doesn't say you couldn't help him or whatever the case may be, but, you know, I know our sisters, they like, oh, no, he ain't finna do nothing to my man, blah, blah, blah. Okay. If you go to grab that man that's beating the heck out of your husband, and you grab him by the secret parts and stuff,
By the secrets.
meaning by the jewels,
The ball.
guess what? That gets cut off. Literally. Not figuratively, not spiritually, literally, physically. Okay? Don't do that.
Don't do it.
You could, you know, whatever it says, don't do that. It didn't say you couldn't punch him in his eye, you couldn't kick him in his face, or, you know, whatever. Okay? You can't grab that man by his stuff. Alright? Let's get to the next law. And I don't even see why in the heck you have your woman in a fight anyways. You know what I'm saying?
It says it in Exodus too that, you know, a woman cannot.
Yeah.
It says it in Exodus.
We ain't supposed to be going through those things. I wouldn't want to have my woman in the midst of that anyways.
Really, I wouldn't want to have her grab some dude's secrets anyway.
Yeah, and then too, if you get into a strife, you should get your own self out of it. Okay? You should have put yourself in the mix of that in the beginning to be strifing in the first place. Okay, now I understand there's some misunderstandings and things, but still, I wouldn't have my woman in the mix of me fighting. No.
For real.
Right.
All right.
Verse 13 through 16.
Deuteronomy 25, verse 13. Thou shalt not have in thy bag divers weights, a great and a small. Thou shalt not have in thine house divers measures, a great and a small. But thou shalt have a perfect and just weight. A perfect and just measure shalt thou have, and that thy days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. For all that do such things, and all that do unrighteously, are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So the Most High is telling you, yo, when you having money, okay, when you have a business, you don't sit there and be like, one day I'm gonna make it this day, and one day I'm gonna make it that way, and things like that. You know, oh, I'm gonna charge this person more, I'm gonna charge that person. No, you do it equally. Just measurements. Same thing in judgment. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. Okay? So even the Most High tells you, if you deal rightfully like that, He'll lengthen your days. And you'll get even more blessings and stuff. So be righteous. Deal righteously. Don't lie. And so-called, you know, certain individuals out there in camps, or men or women amongst Israel, I should say the men because it starts with the men. So you want to sit there and you want people to follow you, or whatever the case may be, or you want to get a gathering, speak the truth. 100%. That's the laws. If people don't want that, so what? Fine. Goodbye. Shalom. It wasn't meant for you. They don't want to hear that. They want to strife against it. So what? And you want to keep pedestaling, playing to these people's emotions and things like that. And you'll see real quick, a lot of that stuff is going to come down on you. And it's been happening too. But anyways, let's get the next law. Verse 17 through 19.
Deuteronomy 25, verse 17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt.
No, it said remember all of Idumea.
Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt.
No, it said remember what Esau did.
Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt.
It said remember what Amalek did, one of the sons of Esau, what he did. Okay? They came out to war against us, like it's going to say. Don't ever forget that. Okay? That's the tribe out of Esau that's going to be put to death, completely wiped off the face of the earth. Now all of Idumea. And once again, as we just read in the law, that the sons of Esau shall come into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation. So once again, which generation are we in? Can you tell? No, you can't. Because they ain't mixed up the dang timelines so bad you don't even know.
And that was done on purpose.
See, man? But once again, well, hey, no, you trying to, man, you love the white man. You like the white man and stuff. Come on,
yeah, we
man.
love him so much we wear his clothes and we speak his language. We speak English.
Right.
That's why we love him so much. Yeah.
But keep reading.
Deuteronomy 25, verse 18. How he met thee by the way, and smote the hidmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy God hath given thee the rest from all thine enemies round about in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek.
No, of Esau.
Shall blot out the remembrance of Amalek.
No, Idumea.
Shall blot out the remembrance of Amalek.
All Edomites.
Shall blot out the remembrance of Amalek.
Of Amalek.
From
that
under
one.
Heaven. From under heaven, thou shalt not forget it.
See? Did I say that? Or does the law say it? Thus saith the Most High through Hamashiach Yeshua and walk with Dashawak, the Holy Spirit.
King James Version Bible. Yeah, it does say it in the law there, Ak.
It's a law. So if you are saying all the Idumeans going to get put to death and things like that and misinterpret what it tells you in Obadiah and Amos and stuff, you're breaking a law. You are adding on and taking away. And I shouldn't have to tell you this stuff, especially individuals who's learned up in the law in the scriptures. But guess what? You've been indoctrinated too. I didn't teach a doctrine here. I'm teaching what the law says.
What it says. Straight out of the book.
So let's get the next law. Verse Deuteronomy chapter 27 and verse 1 through 8.
Deuteronomy chapter 27.
Yeah.
Verse 1
through 8.
And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, Keep all the commandments which I command to you this day, and it shall be on the day when ye pass over Jordan unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, that thou shalt set thee up great stones and plaster them with plaster. Thou shalt write upon them all with the words of this law, when thou art passed over, that thou mayest go up in unto the land which the Lord of thy God giveth thee, and the land that floweth with milk and honey, as the Lord of thy God of thy fathers have promised thee. Therefore it shall be, when ye gone over Jordan, that ye shall set up these stones, which I command you this day, in Mount Ebal, and thou shalt plaster them with plaster. And there shalt thou build an altar unto the Lord of thy God, an altar of stones. Thou shalt...
Of whole stones. I'm sorry. My mistake. Go ahead.
An altar of stones. Thou shalt not lift up any iron tool upon them. Thou shalt build the altar of the Lord thy God of whole stones, and thou shalt offer burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord thy God. And thou shalt offer peace offerings, and shalt eat there, and rejoice before the Lord thy God. And thou shalt write upon the stones all thy words of this law very plainly.
See that? Very plainly. It don't need no mixing and some deep understanding and things like that. They're plain. I'm expounding on some of this stuff because some people say, well, what does that mean? because majority of our people don't even know the English. I don't even know all the English and things like that. So sometimes we have to expound to give a breakdown of certain laws, but it's plain and simple. So this is a law. You're supposed to write this on a stone, a plaster and stuff in the land. So people just walk past, they can look like, dang, you know what? Hey, I just happened to look over and I noticed I'm doing some sin. I'm messing up. I'm messing up in the law and stuff. Thanks for reminding me. You know, that's supposed to help. Thanks for the borders, you know, the border of blue to remind me of the law. Thanks for writing this on my stuff to remind me the laws. Thanks for Most High for writing this in my heart, in my mind and my heart to remind me of the laws. See that? We need reminders because we are rebellious, stiff-necked, hard-headed, okay? Special. So, let's get the next law. Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 6 through 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. And Moses called upon Joshua, and said unto him, in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of good courage. For thou must go with the people unto the land which the Lord thy God, which the Lord hath sworn unto their fathers to give them. And thou shalt cause them to inherit it. And the Lord, he it is that doth go before thee. He will be with thee. He will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed. And Moses wrote this law, and delivered it unto the priests and the sons of Levi, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and unto all the elders of Israel.
So basically it's just saying here, let you know, don't fear none of your enemies out here, the other nations. Don't fear nothing. Don't even let it come into your mind and your heart what's going to happen out here and things like that. Don't fear them. The moment you go in with fear and stuff, you get everybody else scared. Because you in doubt and worry, what is going to happen? What are we going to do? They're bigger than us. They outnumber us. Shoot, Jonathan and his armor, his armor bearer and stuff, they went against the whole Philistines. I think it was the Philistines or one of them. Two of them, and they slaughtered up like a whole bunch of men. Over like 100 men. Just the two of them. The Most High is with you. Don't fear nothing. Let's get the next law, verse 10 through 13.
Deuteronomy 31, verse 10. And Moses commanded them, saying, At the end of every 7 years, in the solemnly of the year of release, in the Feast of Tabernacles.
So the year of release, which is the Jubilee.
When all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men, women, and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates.
And the stranger that is within thy gates, again, that's a Gentile. Go ahead.
That they may hear, and that they may learn, and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law, and that their children which have not known anything may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as ye live in the land, whether ye go in over Jordan to possess it.
So right there, it's a law in itself. In the year of the Jubilee, you're supposed to have all Israel listen to this law. You're supposed to teach them, and the children, and the women, and the stranger, Gentile. You're supposed to teach this to them. See that? So this is what we're supposed to do. That's commanded of us to do. But let's get the last and final law. Verse 19 through 21.
Deuteronomy, verse 19.
Chapter and verse.
Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 19. Sorry about that. I was like, Now therefore write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel to put in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swear unto their fathers, that floweth with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves, and waxen fat, then will then they turn unto other gods, and serve them, and provoke me, and break my covenant. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination which they go about, even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swear.
So that's it on that. So right there, this is a song that's supposed to have been taught. So, I understand. I see brothers and sisters that making songs unto the Most High. Cool. But what about the songs that's written in here? Why don't we start singing those and start rapping those and stuff and putting those into music and stuff? Just saying. But this is the last and final law. So this is the part 2. But like I said earlier, I accidentally pressed the wrong button on there and it cut the video and stuff. So I'll just try to put this all together and stuff, so it's one whole video. But this is the end of the law lessons. We went through all the laws and stuff, so there shouldn't be any excuses now where you're still not having understanding of the rest of the scriptures. There should not be no twisting of a doctrine or a created doctrine, a man-made doctrine, to follow and to be man-pleasers no more. No, it shouldn't be none. We went through all these things before. Okay? Christ says, blessed are those that do the will of my Father, which is what? Keeping his law, statutes, and commandments. Plainly. No twisting, no turning, no nothing. No adding on, no taking away. So, you have it now. We went through them. You cannot dispute anything that's written in the law. Period. Christ did not take away from the law. He didn't add on to the law. When he says, but when I say on to you, he's letting you know because they were taught a man-made doctrines and not taught what the laws actually said and to uphold them and to do. So he didn't add on. Okay, so that's the end of the law lessons, and we'll come back next week. Now we'll get into the meat sessions. Now we'll go into the deep talks and things like that. So, yes, it's been a pleasure, and I hope, pray and hope that you guys got a lot of understanding and that you guys could go back on these videos and look to this and help y'all with your self. I hope you guys written these down. You know what I'm saying? So, you guys have this.
Don't go. We got it on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, when you lose YouTube and internet, this should be embedded in your mind and your heart. Okay, so don't get too digital and
technological.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? So that. So anywho, you'll have this all written down and everything, and like I said, you see, these are all the laws of every chapter and verse. This is what I was teaching from, okay? So, this is from reading and things. So, that's why I hold this very dearly to myself. And some people want it. Let me get that. Let me borrow that when you're done. No. I need this. You can copy from it, no problem. But you taking this into your possession? No. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on a second. Y'all can take, you can take this. You can take this, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you ain't taking this. I need this, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I hope y'all have a blessed day, man. And sisters out there, you know what I'm saying? I hope y'all have a blessed day. And I hope that I wasn't sounding too, one-way gender or anything like that. I wanted to be straightforward with the whole truth, not sugarcoating anything or so forth and so on. So, we'll deal with y'all later, and we hope you have a blessed rest of the Shabbat, and stay endured and everything for all our people around all four corners of the earth. All praise and blessing and glory to the Most High. Ahaya Bahashem, Hamashiach Yeshaya, Wakadash Rawak, Barakatah, and Tawada, and Shema Yesha Allah, Ahaya, Alahaya Nawa, Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Most High our God is one. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.